Hi, I'm Carol Fleming, and I'm here to welcome you to another segment of Carol's Crew. Crew stands for Creating Relationships to Empower Wellness through a whole food, plant based lifestyle. I have recently switched over in 2020, and I am so excited about my progress, my learning, and my knowledge. And I want to share that with you. So each of these segments will be related to your growth, your increased health and wellness. So today I want to start with the top. And what's at the top? Your brain. Your brain, your thought pathways, the way you think about food and relationship that you have with food and also with people. Because I don't want you to ever think that a whole food plant based diet is restricting as far as your relationships with people. They will actually increase and you'll have more to talk about. So let's get started. Would you agree with me that your brain is the control center for your entire body? If you can accept that, then you can also accept the fact that your brain knows everything that goes on and it is working so hard to protect you and also to provide you with transformation through increased knowledge. And that's what we want to do today. When I say everything starts with your brain, you may have chosen to work out today, or you may have chosen not to work out today. But one way or the other, that choice was, it started in your brain with your thought pathways. You said to yourself, I'm going to work out today. And therefore, all of your actions from that point on led to you working out. Now, once you started working out, getting through the workout was also brain power. Because if you didn't believe you could do those 50 jumping jacks, or if you didn't guide your stride towards those 50 jumping jacks, then you weren't going to do them. And as my trainer always says, we have to push through this. So we're going to do that, and we're going to get through this segment. I'm going to get through this segment, and I hope you learn a lot as we go through it. Your brain controls your thoughts, and it's made up of more than three parts, but I want to talk about your consciousness parts. And yes, I'm going to have a hard time saying consciousness all the time, but there are three parts to your consciousness. There is your first level. Well, actually, I'm not going to go over your first level. I'm going to talk about two. So I'm going to talk about your preconscious and your subconscious because those are important, that you understand the role they play in getting you to accept and to move through the goals you have for each day. So, your preconscious or subconscious never sleeps. It's always working. It is controlling things automatically for you, and it's also recording things that you don't even see. I don't know if you've ever watched the TV show Unforgettable, but she has a problem in never forgetting anything. She can remember everything, the day of the week, 10 years ago, whatever happened. Your subconscious knows what you've seen that day, and some of those things that you weren't conscious of seeing, it recorded so that for later, if needed, or for whenever, it was housed in that consciousness. The part that you always know about is called your conscious. That's the part that when you wake up, you say, oh, it's going to be a good day. Or the sun is shining today, and that makes me feel good. The things that you can actively think about, that you actively pursue, or that you strategize about are in your conscious mind. So let's talk about some occasions when your brain's not quite synced. You know, when you had that grilled cheese and french fries and you were full after the first half of the grilled cheese, but you continue to eat it anyway? Hmm. Sometimes when your brain and your body were not in sync with each other. Another time, you know that commercial that says Lay's potato chips? I bet you can't eat just one. Well, if you ate the whole bag, you bought into the fact that you couldn't just eat just one. They were too good. And then also, that sleepless night you had when you couldn't shake whatever was on your mind. Those feelings, although they were conscious in the fact that you couldn't sleep, you didn't know why, but your subconscious knew. So, we're going to talk about that, how we can access our subconscious, and how we can begin to control our conscious acts while we're going through this. So, as I told you before, the subconscious controls things like your heart rate, your breathing. It remembers your birth, which none of us seem to remember, but it's housed in your subconscious. And also, it remembers your first taste of food, of nutrients, whether it was your mother's milk, or whether it was that applesauce that they made, or whatever else, your subconscious remembers the first time you had that experience. And that's a good segue into where I really want to go, which is your relationship with food and what's motivating it, what's controlling it, what's actually underlying your favorite foods. And of course, I've made some observations of myself and my friends. And although I'm only going to highlight three of my friends, I just want you to know I do have more than three friends. But anyway, so I asked my friends because I started with what I like best, which is desserts. And I hope you like desserts too. But desserts seem to excite us when we see good desserts and when we taste good desserts. They make us actually feel better. So let's start with my first friend. I asked them what was their favorite dessert. And they told me pineapple upside down cake. I said, oh, you don't find that very often in restaurants or stores. And they said, no, my great aunt used to make it every Thanksgiving. And I would go in the kitchen and watch her as she made the pineapple upside down cake. And she made it in a big black skillet, a cast iron skillet. And she would put the brown sugar and the water and the butter in, and then she'd place the pineapples and the maraschino cherries just where she wanted them. And then she would pour the batter over it and she would put it in the oven. And when I was there and it came out, she would bring it out, let it cool a little bit, and then put the platter on top of the skillet and then flip it. Now that's when you know whether you got a real pineapple upside down cake or not. Because if it doesn't come out right, you're not going to be able to flip it and have it all stay together. But she said her great aunt was so exhilarated, so excited when the actual cake came out and it was perfect. And her expressions of jubilance is what she remembers. And then when they brought it to the table later, after dinner, the taste was perfect, but she remembers her aunt really being happy about how the cake turned out. Wow, that's interesting. Go with me for a while. I got to tell you about another friend. My second friend, his favorite dessert is red velvet cake. And not just any red velvet cake. He wants the cream cheese icing on his red velvet cake and in between the layers. That, he said, made it perfect. And his grandmother used to make it. And of course, he loved his grandmother, and he loves red velvet cake. Now, my last friend is a little bit off the beaten road. She said that her favorite dessert are snickerdoodle cookies. And I said, Okay. I said, why snickerdoodle cookies? And she said, because my favorite teacher in the eighth grade, Miss King, would make snickerdoodle cookies. And she would always bring them on parent teacher conference day. And my friend would stay after and help navigate the movement of parents in and out of the room, the sign-in sheets, and set up the room for parent-teacher conferences and all those good things. But Miss King would bring the cookies as a reward for those helpers that she had. And my friend liked Miss King, but she also enjoyed the snickerdoodle cookies. I don't know about you, but I see a pattern here. The foods we love aren't just tied to the taste, our taste buds, but they're also tied to the people that we remember enjoying them with. Hmm. Now, I brought that out of the people I was talking to. But what would you say if the things that you really liked weren't just tied to your taste buds, but also tied to your relationships with the people? Go with me for a moment. If you knew that eating that peach cobbler that I love so much, but I can't get the kind that my grandmother used to make, I think it's because, first of all, my grandmother used to make it. And second of all, it was very sweet and I liked it. But there was some comfort in eating her peach cobbler, knowing that she usually made it just for me, because I'm an only child, and therefore people tend to do things sometimes because they feel sorry for me because I'm an only child. They think I should have siblings. I don't agree now, but okay. So, what if it's the relationship I want, not just the peach cobbler that I want? My grandmother has long passed away. And when people offer me peach cobbler, I kind of have to think about whether I really want it or not. Because I'm not going to get that feeling, that taste, that reinforcement, that behavioral change that I got when my grandmother made peach cobbler for me. Because I know she made it for me because I was special, and she made it because she wanted me to feel special. So if you knew that some of the foods you're eating are tied to relationships, would you really want the food, or would you pass on the food or just take a little bit? Because you're not going to get the feeling that you had a long time ago. You're not going to get the same sensation, the same stimulation that you had a long time ago. I have a very funny story to tell you about my son. I breastfed my son, but I guess I was a crazy person back then. And I didn't take the time off that I needed to be with my children. I wanted to go back to work. And so after 6 weeks, I went back to work. But I would I would expel my breast milk all day long, and I would save it and freeze it for him. And my son would go to my Aunt Corinne's. Well, my Aunt Corinne was very well endowed in the breast area. And she would feed him and then put him on her chest to burp. And I think he loved cuddling on her chest. And when I look at all the girlfriends that he's had, and even his wife, they all have ample chests, ample breasts. And I'm thinking that he's choosing them because he's looking for that same comfort and sensation he got from Aunt Corinne. It was protective, it was comforting to him, there was lots of stimulation and sensation around it. I bet you he's still looking for that from Aunt Corinne. And of course, he's too old now, even if Aunt Corinne was still alive, to hang around Aunt Corinne like that anyway. So I want you to do me a favor and think about this. If you're craving something, or if you see something that has an emotional tie to someone in your family, and that's why you really want it, would you rather have the emotional tie, or would you rather talk to them with that in mind, or would you rather have the food? I bet you'd rather have the talk with them. So if they're not here, then you need to find a substitute for that talk that's not food, because that dessert won't give you what you want. That fried chicken won't give you what you want, because you really want a connection to someone. And you're saying, well, why didn't I know this before? Because it was in your subconscious. And you have to actively work to bring emotions out of your subconscious. Because remember, it only wants to protect you. So let's go with me for a minute and let's talk about how we access the subconscious. We can do it, one, through meditation or prayer, just spending time alone with yourself and thinking about your breath. Close your eyes and do that for about 5 or 10 minutes, and you'll be surprised at what comes after that. Most of the time, we don't know how we're really feeling until after, because our conscious can only deal with remorse or happiness, but our subconscious can give us information that we so desperately need. Another way to access your subconscious is through visualization. You have to visualize how you want to see yourself. Michelle Obama wrote a book called Becoming. Every day we get a chance to become. So we really want to access who we want to be and how it's going to look when we get there. So often we say, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to get healthy. Well, what does that losing weight look like? Is it you being a size 16? Is it you're being a size 8? Is it you're wearing a pant size of 32 or 36? What is it actually that you want to attain? And when you attain it, then you can give yourself a celebration because you attained this. So you have to be able to visualize where it is you're going, what the transformation is going to look like on you, not on somebody else, but on you. Another way to access your subconscious is through affirmations. You got to talk to yourself. You got to love yourself. I have an affirmation on my wall that says, every day holds the possibility of a miracle. And yes, there's no shortness on miracles. We can find them everywhere. But I want you to think actively about the fact that today holds that possibility of a miracle for you. And then we also want to keep music around us, nice music that makes us feel better, whether it's gospel, whether it's inspirational, whether it's just classical, or whether it's just a nice beat. We want to be who we want to be, and music can help us get to that place. Of course, there are two more. You can always take a problem and clear it in your head how you want it to be resolved and sleep on it. Everything looks better in the morning. So if you didn't think you got it today, you'll get it tomorrow. Just sleep on it if you can sleep. Now, if you can't sleep, then you can do the last one. You can get up and you can indulge in something beautiful. If you like reading, read a book. Or you could just do a puzzle. Put together a puzzle and you'll see the progress you've made. Or keep beautiful things around you. Keep artwork around you. The little girl behind me, isn't she just adorable? And look what she's doing. She's reading a book. And we all know readers are leaders, right? So before you binge on that next dessert, or even binge on something French fries, before you do that again, please take some time and think about what it is you really are trying to satisfy. And if it's a person, either call that person up or go out and find someone else that you can put in that person's place and talk to them. We crave personal interactions. So let's do that. And just for my sake, because this is one of a segment of many to come from Carol's C.R.E.W. Remember, C.R.E.W, creating relationships to empower wellness. I want you to like, share me, or if you can, just leave a post and let me know what you thought of what I said. And again, enjoy this because this is your life. This is your day, and you want to create wellness for yourself. Take care. See ya.